What's My Line? Brought to you by Kellogg's. Kellogg's Cereals. The best to you each morning from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line? And now, from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the bright young star of musical comedy, Miss Phyllis Newman.
And on my left, a gentleman who many critics, including myself, consider one of America's finest actors, my friend, Mr. Martin Gabel.
On my left, one of America's finest wives and women, Arlene Francis. Considered by
Thank you, dear. And now, back from our mutual stamping ground in Mount Kisco, a squire on weekends, and the ardent president of Random House during the week, Mr. Bennett Cerf.
If I staggered a bit on the way out, it's because the panel moderator told me just before I came out a terrible story about a chicken who was misbehaving. And his mother hen came over and said, if your father could see you now, he'd roll over in his gravy. Oh! The man who perpetrated that atrocity is John Charles Davis.
Unfortunately, I do not carry lawyers with me, but I'll consult one in the morning. I refuse to accept responsibility for rolling over in that piece of gravy.
Miss Newman, it's nice to see you with us again. And Martin, always fine to see you on the panel. We have some
to be here.
very nice and interesting occupations to pose to you tonight, and I think you'll enjoy yourselves. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenger. And now to meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Nellie Bird, right? Is it Miss or Mrs. Bird?
Yes.
Miss Bird, where are you from?
Culloden, West Virginia.
Cologne?
Culloden.
Culloden,
West
Virginia. It's nice to have you with us. Miss Bird, may I present the panel? Now, will you join me over here? Do you know how we keep score on What's My Line?
Yes, I do.
Fine, then we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we can tell you that Miss Bird is salaried and deals in a service, and let's begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
Miss Bird, a beautiful girl like you should be seen in public. Is your service in any way connected with the entertainment world?
Yes, it is.
Good. Do people come to see you?
Yes.
Would you be in the nature of a performer of some kind?
Yes, that's right.
Do you perform sometimes in theaters and sometimes in other structures? Might you?
No.
Might you in tents or something like that?
You're speaking now specifically of theaters or presentation houses
or tents or state fairs or
state fairs. I think the question was so general that, with your permission, we will give a qualified yes to it. Is that all right with you?
All right.
But I want to stress that we're giving you the yes because the question is so generally phrased.
Miss Bird, do you do something that requires some kind of physical dexterity.
Yes.
Might you do this in a circus or a state fair?
Yes.
Do you ever?
Yes.
Are you a member of the Ringling, Barnum, and Bailey Circus at
No.
present?
No, that's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Newman.
Thank you. Miss Bird, you do work for a circus, though, is that
No.
right?
That's wrong. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Are there any animals connected with what you do, Miss Bird?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Are you ever off the ground in your work?
Yes.
Are you up in the air rather than beneath the sod?
We hope so.
I mean, rather than in the water.
No.
Are you up in the...
yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You're up in the air.
So am I.
Are you, do you perform in any way on trapezes?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Bird, do you do your work alone rather than as a member of a troupe?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Newman.
How can I phrase this? When you're up in the air, you have to start from someplace. Are you pushed or projected or shot or anything like that into the air?
No.
You're not? Oh.
6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Gabel.
In the course of your performance, do you go from way up to way down?
What would you mean by way up? Would you give us just a mean level that you would
Well, John,
consider?
as you know, I'm not very tall. So that my standards of height might be different from yours, unhappily for me. Well, you know, like 6 feet or 10 feet or 20 feet.
20 feet, you mean, would be the optimum height you might expect that would be reached in the exercise of this particular talent.
John, you've always been very kind to me and very generous. I see no reason for you to be determined to give me a no.
Well, I'm not. It isn't that I'm determined. I just want to be fair to you, Martin. So
Anywhere
I'll give it to you.
from...
I'll give it to you. 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
Has a wire anything whatsoever to do with your work?
No.
8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Bird, do you ever turn lots of revolutions by hanging on a rope and turn yourself over 40 or 50 times?
No.
9 down and 1 to go, Miss Newman.
Now, I have an idea, but I don't want to get a no on it.
You're in the wrong place.
No. Now, we've established that you go up high, right?
No, I think what we've established was, the question was asked as to whether or not Miss Bird went from way up to way down, and we got from Martin the concept of 20 feet as optimum height, and he got a no.
Well, am I safe in assuming I'm going to foul this up?
You're safe in assuming you're going to foul this up.
That you go higher than 20 feet?
That's very good. That's 10 down and no more to go. That's excellent indeed, because the passage through the air by an automobile stunt driver would be, as you know, from one ramp right across to another ramp. And, you are a part of Rotroff's International All-Girl Daredevil Drivers, right?
That's right.
Ah, fine. And,
She's all girl, I can see
she's
that.
all girl is right. And you wear some protective, you wear a helmet.
Yes, we do.
And what else do you...
A helmet and boots. We also wear a uniform.
and you go travel all around the country?
Yes.
Mostly state fairs and
State and county fairs.
state and county fairs. Well, it's an
John, I think Miss Bird was driving right ahead of me coming down from Mount Kisco this afternoon. There was somebody ahead of me doing tricks.
We don't do it on highways.
Don't do it on highways. Probably the most careful driver on a highway we've ever seen. Well, we hope you have a very busy and successful summer, and thank you for being our guest on What's My Life. Now to meet our second contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Bill Weaver, right? Where are you from, Mr. Weaver?
Paula's Island, South Carolina.
Baldur's Island?
Paula's Island.
Paula's Island, South Carolina. Nice to have you with us. May I present the panel? Will you join me over here, Mr. Weaver? You know how we keep score? Yes. Fine, then we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. And, Mr. Weaver is self-employed and deals in a product. And let's begin the general questioning this time with Arlene Francis.
Is it a useful product, Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Is it found in the home?
Yes.
Can men and women both use the product?
Yes.
Is it consumed?
No.
I mean, does it use itself up?
No. 1 down and 9 to go. This is not to say, as all things made of matter will, in time.
Yes. We all have to go sooner or later.
Sooner or later. That's it. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Weaver, is your product or has it ever been alive?
No.
No?
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Newman.
Would it, Mr. Weaver, would it be used more in 1 or 2 rooms of the house rather than in the whole house?
It's a very interesting question, don't you think? It's a very interesting question. May I have a small conversation with Mr.
No.
Weaver?
That's as long as the ones he usually has with girls.
We want to be fair, Phyllis.
Yes.
And we will agree that its use in the house would tend to be concentrated in specific areas, and it would not be in general use throughout the entire house.
I don't understand. No. Could I carry this product around with me?
Yes.
Is it something that I might use?
Yes.
If I used it, would I bring it in contact with any part of my body?
Yes.
Would I bring it in contact with the upper half of my body?
Yes.
Would it be in some kind of recognizable container?
Would it be in some kind of recognizable container, you or it?
No.
Okay.
No, the product.
Well, I think it would be safe to say that when it was contained, it would be recognizable as what it was and what it is.
Is it a product that is sold in the stores as well as by yourself?
Yes.
Could I buy it in a store that sells things for, say, a general hardware or house store like that?
Yes.
I could, hey? Does it have does it have anything metallic connected with it or a part of it?
You mean basically something, piece of metal or made of
Anything
metal?
metallic? Does it have a metallic container, or is there any metal connected? Any part of it metal?
No.
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Does it in any way improve the health?
I think we have to say there that prudent and judicious use of it could have some beneficial...
Is this product worn?
No.
No, 4 down, 6 to go, Miss Francis.
But when it's in its best use, would one hold it in one's hand?
No. 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Weaver, you say there is no metal in this product. Is there any kind of cloth in it?
Yes.
But it is not, you would not call this something that was worn, is that correct?
That's right.
correct.
Is it useful for health purposes? Would it improve
for health
Would it
purposes?
improve the health in any way?
Well, I think we have to say again,
We
Bennett,
got a
that
yes
its
again.
prudent and judicious use, we would assume, could have a beneficial effect upon the well-being of the individual.
Has it got any dangerous elements in it?
No.
None?
No.
No, I don't think we can call it dangerous. You might, as in the misuse of it, you might
Drop it
get
on
trouble
your
sort of thing at the same time. That's 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Newman.
Mr. Weaver, if I took a bath, would I have any use for it?
You mean while you were taking the bath?
As any part of my bathing routine?
No.
After the bath?
7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Is this something that's more used by men than women?
Well,
No.
No, I wouldn't say it's more used by men than women. Let us say that it is not in any way to be considered more available or more acceptable to men than women. Whether the exact statistic is unknown to us, but I think we have to give you a no. Miss Francis?
You say that when it is in use, the top part of the body might in some way contact it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Could you ever...
Hit yourself in the mouth.
Would it be possible that any other part of the body might come in contact with it?
Yes.
When you come in contact with it, is your position other than upright?
Yes.
Now, let's see, what am I doing some of the time? Is it anything you might sit or lie on?
Yes.
Ooh.
Would it be a good idea, would one get good use out of it sitting on it?
Yes.
You could.
But it would be better to lie on it.
Yes.
I'm that way. Is it, when you're lying on it, is it preferably on the floor? What am I saying? Certainly isn't on the ceiling. Is it in any way, shape, or form associated with reclining, with either resting or sleeping, either one? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Am I going to rule out that it's a bed?
Yes.
Is it anything that might be used by someone else while you are on it? I mean, would anybody do anything? It's going to get awfully complicated. Wait a minute. Is it in the area of massage or operating table?
No.
That makes it 9 down and 1 to go, Mr.
Now,
Cerf.
there's cloth in this, so it might be either in the blanket or mattress division.
Hammock.
Is it either blanket, hammock, or mattress?
Hammock.
Hammock? Have you something to do with
You
hammock?
told him, so I'm going to throw the last one over. Very good. I still consider that you puzzled the panel completely. Actually, Mr. Weaver is with the company is Plantation Craftsman, and of course this is a happy season of the year for hammocks. I've always been a great lover of hammocks. I used to fall out of them as a boy. I landed on my head most of the time, as I remember. But they're much safer now.
That explains a lot, John.
At least I don't run around telling stories about chickens turning over in the gravy. So you can see who fell out of hammocks more, Bennett or Daly, right? Thanks very much, sir. Nice to have you with us in West Mountain. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from...
Lord.
Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the members of the panel are blindfolded. Blindfolds in place, panel?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
John.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right. As you know, panel, one question at a time, in turn moving clockwise. In this case, we'll begin with Phyllis Newman.
Thank you. From that elevation, I assume that you're in the entertainment industry. Am I correct?
Here.
What?
Yes. Mr. Gabel?
Thank you.
Have you ever been on television?
Here.
Miss Francis?
Are you at the present time in a picture that is playing?
No.
No?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
But could you be described as a motion picture star?
Oh.
What?
Yes, yes. Miss Newman?
Are you foreign?
Me mother don't think so.
No is the answer to that. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Did I ever have the pleasure of playing on the stage with you?
You're a perceptive man. Yes, sir. I had the honor to be with you.
Richard Boone.
Right. Actually, Martin, you played Senator Douglas, I believe, didn't you?
I did.
And Dick played Lincoln. in the rivalry.
I must say it's one of the few times in my life I've thoroughly enjoyed having a play stolen from me. Martin, you were really marvelous in that show.
So were you, Richard. I won't have that.
Well, I also played with Dick once, many moons ago. The only time I ever essayed, shall we say, the mask and the buskin or whatever it is you were saying.
Why do you suppose that was, John?
I mean, why it was the only time? I know. I was very bad. That's easy. Frank Heller told me. He was very honest. Frank said, you're no good. Front page.
That's absolutely not true. He was properly sardonic and quite wonderful as Walter Burns.
No, it was a lot of... The only time I ever tried to act in my life, and I was the luckiest man in the world, we had Frank Heller, who was a wonderful director, and fine technicians of the art of the theater, like Dick Boone, to hold me up. And they held me up for a long time, but you couldn't do it forever.
You're being too modest.
I'm more interested in the fact that it appears that you've got a gun, that you're going to put it away now. Next season, you're going to have the Richard Boone show.
That's correct. Along with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman, we're making a theater on television with a repertory company of actors. We hope people are going to be as excited as we are about it.
Oh, it sounds like a great idea. I think this is one thing that we have needed, and needed badly, is a good repertory company for television.
Well, it's a very exciting thing for me, of course, as an actor, to be able to play a different role every week and to not be stuck with being, if you will, the leading man, but being allowed to go into areas of character work where I think actually I'm better than I am being a blue shirt lead.
Now, would you call Paladin, is that a blue shirt lead?
No, that's a black shirt
That's
lead.
A black shirt lead. Well, you've been paladining for a long, long time.
6 years.
Will you have regrets?
No, I have nothing but gratitude.
Regrets? He's a wealthy man.
Well, this should be a lot of fun, and I must say I look forward to it being a tremendous success because I think it'd be good for the industry.
I thank you.
You do everything so well. I'm sure that it'll come out well, too, Dick. Thanks for being our guest and what's my... I suppose probably Martin would enjoy this more than most people, but what actually happened when I tried that once to be an actor was I'd keep forgetting my lines, and Dick Boone and all the other fellows and also gals in the cast have to go and pick the script up somewhere ahead and hope I'd catch up with them. It was a long, hard show. Well, you've done, I must say, particularly with Mr. Boone, rather well tonight, panel, and we'll all be back after this word from our alternate sponsor. It's been great fun to see Martin Gabel back with us, and of course, Miss Phyllis, nice to have you with us again. And on a happy note, let me say good night to Miss Newman.
Thank you. Good night, and good night, Martin.
Good night, Phyllis. My love to wait out.
Thank you.
Arlene?
Anything you'd like to say to me?
See you later, alligator.
Good night, too, Bennett.
Thank you, Arlene. John, would you tell us that gravy story again? I think a few people didn't get it.
Well, you see, there was this chicken, and somebody got into the gravy. Is that right, Bennett? Now, what I really appreciate is that Bennett has now given me the golden opportunity to prove to you beyond peradventure of doubt that it's his story and not mine, because I don't even know its details. But it's a funny story, Bennett. And may I say, for all of us, thank you for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Johnny Olson speaking. The preceding program was pre-recorded.